The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, Virginia, and from boosted parlay, same game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100 and get $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your $100 free bet today. Yes, sir. We are back here with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. You know me, you know the voice, you know the guy. It's me, really real, villain real, Terrell Furman Jr. at your service. And I got my partner in picks with me, my guy, Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
I'm doing pretty well. Looking forward to going through these Friday games. I know that there weren't many games yesterday, and yet one game was really, really entertaining. The other one was entertaining for about 5 minutes, but then the Nuggets ended up blowing the game open again. But overall, two high-scoring games. One game was just pure chaos. And, if you had the over, you had a good time no matter what on both games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we gave out over on both games too. Just felt like we liked points. Golden State, not what they were defensively to start this season. And I mean, is it the Mike Brown effect? Mike Brown did leave. It could be the Mike Brown effect, but
I have a take on their defense, but I'll let you do the speculating first.
yeah, no. It's just, you know, how everybody would be as soon as somebody disappears and something falls off, they're like, oh my God, it was this person. No, their defense just isn't there to start the season right now. And they're having issues. And it was it still is a really tough road trip. They got the Pelicans later on, but I'm not worried about this Warriors team. I think that if you like their win total or you like them to win a championship, now you're getting them at a reduced price. But I have no quarrels about this Warriors team.
Yeah, I think the title part's a little bit of an overreaction if you're really concerned that they won't win the title because they're struggling in the middle of, October, November. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you remember LeBron when he originally joined the Heat, they were 9-8.
Yeah.
Then they just hit a gear, and I know they didn't win the title that year, but they still had a deep run. The point is, it's too early to really tell how much the team's going to struggle long term. You mentioned the Mike Brown effect, kind of half joking. I will at least bring up one player whose stock, I believe, has risen more than arguably any other player, and he hasn't played a game yet this season. It's Gary Payton II.
Yeah, 100%.
I think he was crucial.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And we saw them overcome the injury that he had. Dylan Brooks basically tried to kill him in a playoff game, and he ended up missing about a series and a half. But still,
You guys are so dramatic.
I know, I'm joking, but still, what happened? He fractured his elbow, I think, in that fall.
Yeah.
And he ended up missing a decent amount of time. Then he
Yeah.
came back. He was really the perfect piece for this Golden State defense because he was the opposite of everybody else on the team. He could really impact the defense while just not being totally atrocious offensively, and that was good enough. That was the yin to everybody's yang. And now that he's not there, they really are missing that perimeter defender that can just disrupt any type of opposing offensive possession.
Mhm.
And Gary Payton II has yet to play for Portland. That's why I kind of brought it up. But when you're talking about, Golden State running it back and bringing everybody back, it seems like the one piece that got away might have been the biggest unsung hero of the team. He was really, really impactful defensively, and it seems like with him not being there anymore, they're really struggling to find that stopper on the perimeter because I know Barkley and Clay had issues and some, back and forth comments in the media. Clay's not that guy anymore. And it seems like they really don't have that true lockdown perimeter defender, and that's what Gary Payton would have been.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my main takeaway. I just think Gary Payton II's value to the roster was extremely understated, and it's become extremely obvious now because of how bad they've been defensively without him.
And that's why I'm kind of buying into this Portland Trailblazers team, just to kind of switch gears real quick. They're not even at full strength. They're playing these games at half strength. Dame's been out for the past couple of games. Like they're not playing these games at full strength, and this Trailblazers team still looks pretty solid. We'll talk about them a little bit later, but when Dame is back and Gary Payton Jr. is back, then it's gonna be pretty interesting for this team.
Yeah, I think Portland is a team that I had questions about mainly because of durability, and Lillard got hurt, so I guess that part I wasn't totally wrong about, but I wasn't sure if one guy could drastically impact the defense for the team enough to turn this into a respectable defensive unit. I think I just overestimated how bad this team would be defensively in general. They're
Yeah,
not
because they
totally
look they're
awful.
solid. They
Yeah,
are solid.
they're not bad. I thought they'd be a bottom 5 defensive team no matter what,
No,
and
yeah,
they're
they
not.
are
Like,
doing
they're not
all
that
right
bad, and I
without
also
them.
had questions about Billups because I didn't think he could coach, or at least I wasn't totally certain if he could coach because last year's team was a train wreck and Lillard got hurt and they traded McCollum and there's really no way to fully evaluate. I
Hmm.
think he's actually not a bad coach from what I've seen in the very limited action with a healthy roster.
Hmm.
That Portland team, they're not going to win a title. They're not going to win a division. They probably won't make it out of the first round, but they're not bad. And I do think Gary Payton is a very nice complementary piece because he is a really, really impactful defensive player in a way that a lot of players around the league are not.
What I'll say about Portland is I think that they're about to go back to being that kind of 3 seed in the West, Portland, where they win a lot of regular season games. They're able to do really good in regular season. It may not translate over to the postseason, but this Portland team looks like prime to win games. How and it really goes back to the fact that everybody on that team last year basically got a red shirt year being a starter. And so
Mhm.
now they have that experience, and you bring in, bring Dame back, you bring Peyton Jr. in there, and
You bring in
he
Jeremy
changes
Grant.
them. Yeah, Jeremy Grant. Yeah, bring in Jeremy Grant. Like this team looks a lot better. I mean, I was slightly bullish on them. I know we were concerned about injuries, but I was slightly bullish on them going into the season. But they really do look the part, and we can't wait to see this team at full strength for
I'm
sure.
still going to have to wait to see how long Lillard's going to be out for and if anything lingers from this injury.
Hmm.
But assuming they stay relatively healthy for the rest of the year, I'm not going to say top 3 seed. I'll give them top 5, top 6 seed. Like, I thought best case they'd be a play-in team. I think their ceiling's a lot higher than that.
I think this is going to be one of my favorite teams against the spread. I just don't see how I can fade them
And their home
against the
court's
spread this
definitely
season.
a solid home court, so they should be a
Yeah,
good home team.
yeah, I don't see how I can fade them against the spread this season when they're at full strength. Like if they're getting points, I'm going to be interested in Portland every time.
They're good. Yeah.
All right. Before we get into the breakdown, got to talk to you about WinBet because WinBet's now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. You look, they give you everything you need. They have the WinBet Casino. They have same game parlays. You win, build your own bet. You can do that. We do that all the time over on the NBA Gambling Podcast and on the Sports Gambling Podcast. Whole bunch of football, build your own bets. I might have to try to bring that over to the NBA side. I haven't done a build your own bet for NBA yet, so I might cook something up during this episode. And I mean, promos, payouts, everything you need, live in-game odds. And if you sign up today, you can bet $100 to get $100 free bet. So much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Also, change terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 and older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, let's go ahead and get into the slate here. We have first up on the docket the Brooklyn Nets traveling to play the Washington Wizards. Homecoming for Kevin Durant. -3 is the line for the Wizards right now. 223 is the total injury report here. And I see Seth Curry is ruled out for this game. Kyrie Irving has been suspended by the league. And I guess we should start with that. Ben Simmons also out. So no Seth Curry, no Ben Simmons, no Kyrie Irving because Kyrie Irving has been suspended by the Nets organization. I said the league earlier. I meant the Nets organization. He's been suspended for at least 5 games, could be more depending if he apologizes, it looks
He
like.
did apologize on, I forgot what platform it was. I know Shams tweeted it out. It might have been Instagram, might have been something, but it was relayed on Twitter. Kyrie did give a written apology. I don't know if that's going to stand because I'm sure people might want an actual, vocal apology. But
Yeah.
No matter how long he's going to be suspended, he's not playing tonight. He's not playing the next 4 games after that. The only
Yeah,
question is he ever going to play for the Nets again? That's really the only question remaining.
I think he will. I don't
I
think
think
it's
he
going to
will
go that
too,
far.
but that's really the only question left because he's guaranteed 5 games.
Yeah. Uh, I don't even feel like getting into the Kyrie situation, to be
I
honest.
don't think there's anything that really is worth being said, needing to be said about the overall reason for the suspension and stuff like that because it's a gambling show.
Yeah,
And everyone's going to have their own opinion about the issue. However, I do think it is worth discussing from a betting perspective and how Kyrie is going to be out indefinitely, how it's going to be a distraction for the rest of the team. I think that part we can still have a discussion about
I have a
whether or not
juxtap.
people think he should be suspended or not. So I made a future bet yesterday as a Nets fan. I bet on the Nets to miss the playoffs at plus 260. And there were a couple reasons why. First of all, it was plus 310. Then it went down to plus 260 at the same book. I was really pissed off, but I ended up betting it anyway. I don't like anything about this team.
Yeah.
And you look for the box checking for potential dumpster fires. And last year, the Lakers checked a lot of those boxes. This year, you look for what this team does badly. And you probably want at least 1 or 2 things this team does at a bottom 3, bottom 5 level. The Nets are dead last in defensive efficiency, and they're
Hmm.
dead last in rebounding. So they are awful in 2, I'd say, in at least 2 phases of the game. The other phase is offense. They run a heavy isolation system. They have a temporary coach who might be there for a while because you don't know when Udoka is going to be the coach. And there's a lot of other distractions going on with the coaching staff right now.
Hmm.
But offensively, Kyrie was still putting up a bunch of great stats. And even if you don't like him as a person, you don't like what he's done recently, what he's done on the court's been undeniable this year. He's been really, really good. And I
Hmm.
think the fact that the Nets don't have much depth, you're looking at their projected starting point guard in the absence of Kyrie. It's either Patty Mills or Edmund Sumner. Like this is really
Sumner's
disaster
been really good
territory.
this year.
Sumner's been
Sumner's
good
been
this
really
year.
good this year.
I liked him at Xavier for the record,
Yeah,
but
I'm
still,
super excited about him.
the
He's been really
point
good
is,
this season.
I do think you're looking at this roster, and their bench is a train wreck. I mean, Cam Thomas has demanded trades cryptically through Instagram because that's a cool thing to do. But even random bench players are
Don't be an
demanding
old head.
trades. I mean,
What?
I
He's
think
not a
Thomas
random bench player. He's not a random bench player.
he should be
Cam Thomas
playing
is
more,
not a
but
random
still,
bench player.
the point is there's a lot of
He has
just
there is some claim, like there's some claim he has there of why he's not getting minutes and how good he is. There is a claim there. I will agree.
I agree. I agree with the claim. I think he should be playing more. I'm just saying that you're also having bench players who are demanding trades or trying to say they don't want to
Bench
be there
players talking
anymore.
like starters. I hate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of just serious distractions, a lot of me personalities on the team. They
Scott's not
can't
here for my shit.
rebound, they can't defend, and I think the rotation is garbage. So, when you're asking what I think's going to happen with this team, is there a chance they just blow the whole thing up? Because I think that there's an underrated chance that maybe that happens in about 2 months. I think that this team could really consider hitting the ultimate, bomb emoji. They just absolutely just blow the whole thing up. You have any thoughts on this? Because I think 260 to miss the playoffs for all the turmoil right now is a joke.
I mean, would you be surprised if they traded Kyrie for a bag of Skittles?
I don't
I
know what team
mean,
would take Kyrie right now, to be honest with you.
the Lakers.
Is he worth the baggage? I don't even know if the Lakers would take him at this point.
Yeah. No, I think people will take him. I think they'll let this stuff blow over. Like I think they'll let it blow over, and I think that somebody would take them, especially somebody like the Lakers who are desperately desperate, like to do anything. So
Even though
I
Westbrook's
mean,
actually been decent for the last couple of games off the bench, you think they would still consider swallowing all the distractions
yeah,
that's associated with Kyrie?
yeah. If they could get some type of deal, if some type of deal where they get Kyrie and they can work out the cap situation, because I know that's going to be a big thing,
Mhm.
or if they just say fuck it and pay the luxury tax, but I don't think that they're trying to do that like the Warriors are
Yeah.
doing that.
Well, even if we
Then
toss the Lakers out, is there any other team that you think would actually be willing to embrace the Kyrie chaos? Because I really
mm,
don't think there are many other teams that want to deal with the circus at this point, at
mm,
least.
Yeah, I mean, not right at this point in time, not right now. But if you're
That's my
telling me we
point.
get
So if the
closer, I
Lakers
think it's more
suddenly,
of a
yeah,
trade deadline. I think it's more of a trade
okay.
deadline thing. And when that like trade deadline, that's when somebody is like, "Oh yeah, we have a chance for a title. All this stuff has blown over. It was months ago. Nobody's talking about it for real. Let's go ahead and make the move for him. I know we're gonna have some bad PR for a couple of days, but it's all right because we're gonna have a chance to win the championship." So,
I'll ask it
uh,
this way: if you had to price the Nets to miss the playoffs, not including playing, they have to get out of the play and be in the actual bracket. What price would you have on the make and miss playoffs? Because
probably
from
3 to
last
1.
night, the yes was like minus 320, minus 330,
Yeah,
and the no
I
was
think it's
plus
a
260.
pretty I think it's a pretty solid price. I think it's a pretty solid price. And you just gotta I mean, you can't set it too low because everybody's coming in on the yes, but you can't set it too high because then you're really gonna be pissed. I think that 3 to 1 was a solid price. And if you're bookmakers, you're just praying to whoever you pray to that Kyrie gets back on the court soon. Like that's really it.
We also haven't dealt with the KD injury arc of the season yet because it's coming. He's got an injury like every year since the series injury. So
This feels like Sean's Christian McCaffrey is going to get injured call. This feels like the exact same thing.
I'm just saying the point is if the Nets can't win with Kyrie and KD this season because the defense and the rebounding are so bad, and now Kyrie's out indefinitely, that's not great. And if KD gets hurt too, this team could be a lottery team. The problem is, I think they have like a pick swap with Houston, so I don't know who would get whose pick, but I don't think there's anything to like about this team right now. And I think if you were asking me what the price should be, I think it should be closer to 2 to 1 to miss, maybe 180. I think this team's actually a disaster right now.
Yeah.
So I jumped on it. I took it. As for this game, kind of to segue back in, I'm going to take the Wizards. I got them last night at -2. I know that you can argue it might be an overreaction because I believe the line opened up at +1 before the Kyrie news came out, and
It
now
did.
it's moved about 4 points. I don't really care because Seth Curry is still injured. So that's another key guard they probably need a lot with Kyrie not playing.
Yep.
The Wizards are fifth in rebounding rate. They're going to kill this team on the glass. They're going to absolutely dominate on the glass throughout this game, whether it involves Porzingis. I don't mind a Kuzma double-double tonight. They're just a good rebounding unit. I'll ask you again, do the Nets do anything well? No, I'm serious because
No,
offensively was the only thing you could argue, and with
Kevin
Kyrie
Durant.
being out, they're extremely hampered. What do they
Yeah,
do
no,
well right now?
Kevin Durant. That's it.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. And even with Durant, they were losing games to Indiana.
You're missing Kyrie, Ben Simmons, and Seth Curry. I mean, I can't back that team. Even with Kevin Durant, I can't back that team like that. Just give me the Wizards -3.
That's what I got. I'm not going to spend much time on it, but I thought it was worth circling back in. There's no way I'm going to bet the Nets here. I can't.
Yeah, and maybe it's a spot that they sneak up and everybody kind of rallies. And I mean, I can see that point of view and that narrative that everybody rallies behind the team and, no Kyrie for a foreseeable future. Everybody kind of next man up mentality. Yeah, I 100% see that narrative. I just can't bet it. Wizards -3.
I thought about that narrative, but I feel like that narrative usually applies to a very good reason with missing games. Like if a player gets hurt, you can circle the wagons and say, that's our guy. He got hurt. We got to do whatever we
Well,
can to step up.
what I will say is this, that there are a lot of people that think Kyrie had a pretty good reason. Like Kyrie came out and said what he said, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes, and we all know this. It's a lot of people behind the scenes that feel the exact same way as him. And so it very well could be something similar to that course.
It could be. I'm just saying when you usually talk about teammates rising up to overcome
Yeah, it's
a
like
player missing
injury.
time,
It's like,
it's
yeah,
injury based. It's something that's not a debatable reason for missing
yeah,
games.
no, I understand.
I'm not sure if Kyrie even has a good relationship with his teammates because of all the distractions they've dealt with, the fact that he didn't get vaccinated and a lot of players on the roster had to play without him and he might have potentially costed them a playoff run. I doubt it, but that could be an argument that some people make. I don't know if this is really a spot where the teammates are going to play well without him and use him as a rallying cry because of the reason for the suspension and the reason why he's not playing. So some players might agree with him, some might not. It's a massive distraction. and Kyrie's kind of been a distraction with this franchise for over a year and a half at this point. I don't know if his teammates actually like him. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know.
I think they like him.
They might. They might
Over
not.
under.
But
Over under at 223. I'm going over. I'm not taking under with this next team.
I'm going to lean to the over as well, but I'll go to Washington team total over. I don't
Yeah,
know what we're
that's a
going to
better
expect
play.
from the Nets.
I was supposed to be looking that up.
I don't
I
know
got
what we're going to
distracted.
expect from the Nets. Well, I can tell you from the number alone, it should be like 113, 113 and a half. Total's 223. They're favored by 3. So it should be 113, 113 and a half. But
home team. Yep, it is 112 and a half.
I'm on
Minus
the over.
110. Yeah, give me the over on that.
Yeah.
All right. Pretty easy there. Next game on the slate, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers going to play the Detroit Pistons on the road, laying 6 on the road for the Cavs. 220 is the total over here. Clicking over injuries for this Detroit and Cleveland game, we have Darius Garland, who's questionable. Dylan Windler is out. Donovan Mitchell is questionable. And Raul Nieto is questionable. And then for Detroit, we have Jalen Duran, who is probable with that ankle injury. Looks like he should go tonight. All right. -6 for the Cavs against Detroit. I mean, Detroit's kind of been in games a little bit.
Except on back-to-backs or immediate
Yeah.
rematches, but they've been okay besides
Yeah,
that.
on the back-to-backs and immediate rematches, they've been terrible. But they got some rest before this game. I think the interior is still going to be, even with Durant coming back and coming off the bench. I think they still have some serious issues on the interior of the game for them. Like they just don't have the bigs or the system just to be able to protect the paint, be a really really good rebounding team. And if you're going up against Jared Allen or Evan Mobley, you're going to have to be able to challenge those guys down low. And I just don't know if Isaiah Stewart or Jalen Durant can really get that done.
And Durant will probably be on limited minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, after Duran, what is that? Nerlens Noel? Like, so
I might have forgotten he was on Detroit, if I'm being honest. I'm on the Cavs here. The Cavs are really good.
Yeah, it feels chalky. It feels
does.
really chalky, but the Cavs are really good, man. And
We're also on the bandwagon of Dwayne Casey, next coach fired, though. So I feel like
yeah,
we're
you're
kind of
right.
okay with
You're right.
A bit of chalk there because we just think Detroit's a ticking time bomb at this point. But I think Cleveland, the main question they had going into last game in particular, what was Darius Garland's role going to be with this team? Because he was a ball-dominant point guard last year. Then Mitchell showed up. Mitchell wants the ball in his hands all the time. And I thought there'd be some issue. And
No.
then Garland came back against the Celtics, of all teams, who are one of the better teams in the league. And Garland just went off, and they won in overtime. It got a little bit hectic late. They should have won it in regulation. It doesn't matter. They won the game. But the fact that Garland and Mitchell have already shown signs of coexisting properly and even well together with the front court of Mobley and with Allen, they're a
to anchor
really
them
good
defensively, like they
they're
anchor
a
them
really good team.
defensively.
Yeah, the only issue
They
they have,
hide. I'm just saying they hide Donovan Mitchell on defense. They
and
really
Okoro
do.
as well is also a very good defensive player who they can use to kind of hide Mitchell as well. The only concern right now is just relying on Karis LeVert to be one of your main bench guys because I still think he's a bit too streaky at times. But this Cavs roster is really good. This Pistons roster I like, but they're not gelling properly. They're not a great rebounding team. Bench-wise, they're not great either. I know Killian Hayes, one of their main top picks from a couple of years ago, has been an absolute disaster. He barely plays anymore because he's been that bad. I'm going to go with Cleveland. I like the roster too much, and the chemistry is already showing signs of true growth. This team could be scary in the East. I think they're that good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. I'm on Cleveland here, and I was trying to make the case for Detroit. I felt like I could, but
if they switch coaches before the game, maybe we can have a discussion. But I'm not backing Dwayne Casey. I think he's just a bad coach at this point.
Yeah, I can't. All right, total set at 220. Oh, and real quick to go back, ATS. Cleveland is 6-1 ATS. Detroit 4-5.
Okay.
Back to the total though, 5-2 for the over for Cleveland. We have Detroit. Wait, where did Detroit just go? Just oh yeah, Detroit 6-3 to the over. So both teams going, and I kind of really do like an over in this game. I think that this is, this just kind of feels like the stars kind of come out in Detroit, and you have, so a good production game from the backcourt when you talk about Jaden Ivey, you talk about Cade Cunningham, but you also have, and even throw uh Bojan in there,
Mhm.
and then you also talk about the other side of the ball and everything the Cavs have put together. It just feels like it could be a lot of points in this one. So I'll go ahead and play towards the over.
It's another team total spot for me. Cleveland defensively can still do whatever they want inside the paint because you have Allen and Mobley who are incredible. Detroit defensively is an absolute mess. And when your main rim protector is going to be Stewart, and you're looking at Boyan in the starting lineup, and he's an atrocious defender. I mean, Utah, Gobert hated him more than any other player because he couldn't guard anybody last year. But I just think defensively, this team for Detroit is, let's just say, a work in progress to be nice. I'll go with Cleveland team total over because with all those weapons, they really could score 120 by themselves, and nobody would be surprised.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Real quick, let's throw to LG in the chat. It said Cavs -6, Darius Garland assist and double double, along with Jared Allen rebounds. Thoughts?
The double
Uh,
double, I'm not sure about for Garland, but I definitely like it for Allen and company. I think
yeah,
Allen should be in a good spot to go for like 15 and 14, something like that.
yeah. I think I'm gonna wait on Darius Garland props, and I guess it's really easy to say that, but
It was
I
one game.
yeah, he's
I
had
need a
one
bigger
game.
sample
I,
size.
I want to get a sample size of what this offense looks like, because that could have just been the Darius Garland go off game. What if this is the Darius Garland? I'm the point guard and I'm just dish everybody off assist game. So I I don't know. I don't know. I gotta wait and see what Darius Garland does. But Jared Allen rebounds, yeah, I love that.
hmm I agree.
All right, let's go on to the next game of the slate. We have the Miami Heat going to play the not Indianapolis, the Indiana Pacers. I am stuck in football mode. Heat playing the Indiana Pacers -3.5 for the Heat. 226.5 is the total. Injury report here, and we have Nikola Jovic, who is out. We have Jimmy Butler, who is out. Bam Adebayo, who is questionable. And for Indiana, Aaron Nesmith, who is questionable with the foot injury. I mean, we're getting back to land points with the Heat on the road, and that's always a questionable spot for me.
And they're very shorthanded.
Very, very shorthanded. So my issue with Indiana is just defensively, they're just
hmm
not there. They don't try, and it's Rick Carlisle's. It's
Miles
Rick
Turner
Carlisle
has helped
teams.
a little bit with that, but yes.
Yeah, he has, but I'm
I like the over in
Miami's.
this.
Yeah, I like the over, and I was just about to say that I like the over because Miami's just been so bad against three, and that's what Indiana loves to do. And if you give Indiana a bunch of chances from three, they're definitely going to take them and convert on a number of them. I I think that this is a sleepy spot for Miami. I think this is a sleepy spot for Miami. And I'm getting some places I'm getting four. You might even find some 4.5s, honestly. I'm gonna just take the points from Indiana. I think Indiana's been a scrappy team and they've been able to keep teams, really, really close in games. And Miami at this part in the season hasn't been able to pull away from a lot of teams in this part of the season. They kind of let teams hang around. They let the Raptors cover a couple of 3.5s, fours. Like they let not the Raptors, the Kings cover at home the other day. Like the Heat been letting a lot of teams hang around. It's just because they haven't locked in. Like a lot of teams haven't locked in defensively this season yet. And so it takes some time to get that stuff going. I think that's just something happening with the Heat right now. Plus, they're short staffed. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just go Indiana and the points here.
I was trying to find a prop on the leading scorer in the game just to see if I could find some nice plus money. I was going to take a flyer on, I mean, Halliburton should be one of the favorites, but I was going to consider him maybe a flyer on Matherin.
Yeah.
Probably find double digits because he's a bench player, but I think Matherin has a decent shot of going for a big game here.
Hmm.
I like the over. I do agree with you about Indiana, though. The Heat, with Heat culture, if you believe in it or not, they're usually good at surviving the absence of big players.
Hmm.
But the fact that they're only 3.5 or 4 against an Indiana team that's been actively tanking Indiana has not been that bad this year. I
No, they
think that
haven't.
Halliburton's a very, very good player. There's no debate in that. Mathurin is as good as I thought he was going to be. I was a huge Mathurin guy in Arizona. I think he's good. Jalen Smith's been a pretty pleasant surprise with this roster. I just think that if you're looking at cohesion, we know even though the Pacers are bad, the fans always show up in Indiana because what else is there supposed to do in Indiana on a Friday night? So the fans will be there. But I'm going to go with the Pacers here. It's a spot where I just feel like the Heat prove that they can, at full strength, compete. They beat the Warriors. They beat the Kings. Nice buzzer beater there, or game winner by Hero. I think that it's a spot where the Heat might just roll over and Indiana decides, you know what? Yeah, we can actually win this game. Let's go. And I think they'll end up pushing the pace. I like the over here. I don't know which center is going to be starting for Miami, but
Hmm.
give me the double-double prop on whichever center is going to be starting. Like, this is a prime Yurt-7 game, even though he's injured. Like, if he was healthy, I would have slammed the double-double at like 3-1, but I
Yeah,
can't. Do they
yeah,
still have Dwayne Dedman? Like, who's their starter
yeah.
right now?
Dwayne Dedman is still there.
Give me the double-double on Dedman if I could find it. It
uh,
makes too much sense, spot start. I think that he can rebound
yeah. I mean,
relatively
if
well.
Bam doesn't go, yeah, 100%. But this would have definitely, and I'm not gonna lie, is Yurtseven like out for an extended period of time still?
I have no idea, but I
I
love
didn't
that
see
guy.
his
He
name.
was just walking to 15 rebounds as a spot starter. He was like the best last
Yeah,
year.
I'm gonna have to go look, and I don't see his name here on the injury report. I'm gonna have to go look into it and see if he's available. Then Yurtseven is a name that you should definitely be looking at. All right, total set at 226.5. Is there
Over.
anything scaring you off the over?
By the way, Yurtseven's officially out, so he's not going
Okay.
to play. He has an ankle
Oh,
injury. But the point is, Deadman, if you can find a line on him, you probably won't be able to find a line on him. But if you can, I'd probably look at a double price, which should be decent.
it'll probably
But
be closer to
assuming
game
Bam
time.
doesn't play, I'm on the over. Indiana wants to run. Miami now is going to be using uh, potentially a small ball lineup. You're going to have Duncan Robinson playing a lot of minutes. He can't guard anybody, so that's going to help out the over. I like the over. You have a young team and a team that should be a little bit shorthanded, relying more on the guards. Give me points. I like a track meet in this one.
All right. Next game on the slate, we have the New York Knickerbockers going to play the Philadelphia 76ers. Minus, this line has jumped since I made this graphic. -3.5 for the 76ers. 219.5 is the total.
I'm assuming that
Going,
means Embiid's playing.
maybe. Uh Embiid's questionable, Matisse Thybulle questionable, James Harden out.
I'm just
Nothing
saying
for the
because you said
Knicks.
it went up a point. According to reports here, it says that Embiid did go through shoot around on Friday.
Okay.
So
All
I'm
right. I'm
assuming
about
it's
it.
just assuming that I'm assuming the line moved because they think Embiid's going to play. If I had to guess.
Yeah. All right. Um. Yeah, and it's even gone up half a point to 220 on the total.
Mm.
So I don't trust the Knicks.
Just give me the Maxi over. I'm not going to overthink this. It's really a perfect scenario for Maxi to go nuclear for the next month.
Yeah, with
Embiid's in
Harden
and out of
out,
the lineup. Harden's out
Harden's out.
indefinitely. You're going to see Maxi with the ball all the time. You could argue Maxi assists maybe if you think that the defense will start actually, kind of crashing in on him. Maybe he can get his teammates involved. I know the Sixers coaching staff and the overall fans hate Tobias Harris, so the less shots for him, the better. I think Maxi's going to keep doing what he does. He's been dropping basically 30 every game for the past week and change since Embiid's been injured. You can argue Embiid might have a big stat line here, but I wonder if he'll be on a min restriction or what his story is going to be because he hasn't played in about a week. I think Maxi's in line for a huge game here. I don't mind
Yeah.
Maxi 30-plus points. You can argue maybe 35-plus points. I know he had 44 against Toronto last Friday. I just think Maxi's a serious matchup problem because of the speed and how nobody can stay in front of him. He really is going to have an even bigger green light than he's had for the past week, and that is dangerous. I like the over on Maxi props.
Yeah, I'm on that. I like that. Uh if I had to pick, I'm just taking 76ers -3.5.
Okay.
I'm not gonna think, I don't trust this New York Knicks team. Uh
I know
And I
you.
feel
I
like
know
the
you ranted
76ers,
about
the
it.
76ers typically own the Knicks. Like
Mhm.
like they normally just no matter in their good years or bad years, they normally just kind of beat the shit out the Knicks.
Oh,
Like,
if Embiid plays in this game, give me the under on like every Mitchell Robinson prop because he's gonna have 4 fouls in 5 minutes. Every
yeah,
time the Knicks face off against the
yeah,
76ers,
not
he's
gonna
in
lie,
foul trouble
yeah.
2 minutes into the game.
That's how
He can't
Jericho
help himself.
Sims, and that's how Jericho Sims got a lot of action against them last year. And we realized that hey, Jericho Sims is a good guy. That oh wow, confusion. We don't see him that often. Uh, yeah, no, give me the 76ers here. They typically own the Knicks. All right, total set at 220.
I don't know what to think of this game because Embiid playing is such an oxymoron for totals because, of course, he's Embiid and he can drop 30 in any game. The problem is they play so much slower when he's on the court because he can't run the floor. So he actually hurts the over by
Mm-hmm.
playing, and his transition defense, though, is pretty bad. So you could argue the Knicks should be able to push. I know you ranted about it last episode. I wasn't on the last episode. I don't know what to make of that Atlanta game because offensively they fell apart, but defensively they were atrocious too.
Yep,
I think the Knicks have just been a pure over team so far this season.
4-2-1.
I'm going to lean to the over. I don't feel great about it. My favorite play is maxi points. So I'm going to look at
Yeah,
an over that way.
I'm taking over because James Harden is not there to push the pace, and I think that Maxi will inadvertently push the pace a little bit faster than Joel Embiid wants it to be. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take an over on there just because James Harden's not there.
And the Knicks defensively have been a train wreck.
Yep, absolutely. Props. Give me a ladder on Jalen Brunson today. Start
Okay.
me off at 20 and give me a ladder on Jalen Brunson today. Philadelphia guy coming back home. He typically plays well in Philadelphia. He dropped 24 the last game. Game before that, he had 11 off of the bench in like 20 minutes of action. He was 3 for 5, 11 points. So he typically has pretty good games against Philadelphia. First time in a Knicks jersey, rivalry, grudge match type thing. Give me Jalen Brunson. Just ladder his points all the way up for me. I'll kick it off at 20 for plus money, 25, 30. And I'll probably have a little parlay going on with him and Maxi both to have 30.
Yeah, I don't mind that. What are the odds on 25 and 30?
Give me a second and I'll pull that up.
I'm assuming 30 is going to be like plus, I don't know, 250 maybe?
Yeah, so 25, we're at
25, I'm going to guess like
plus
170.
550.
Wait,
Plus 550 for 25 for Brunson.
wait. What's his regular point prop?
His regular prop is 16 and a half. So you get
25 plus.
so you get 20 on plus you get 20 points is plus 168.
I said
Then you have
170. That was going to be my guess. Okay.
yeah, but that's for 20.
Yeah.
25 is plus 550. And then they
Okay.
don't even give you an option for 30.
I can't
Because
believe that it's plus 550 for 25. That's an
and
insane
honestly,
jump.
real quick rant. And I'm not giving anybody no free promo, so you can just try to figure out who I'm talking about. If the books are taking away the higher points props because they're afraid we're going to hit them, that's so lame. That is beyond lame. Do you know how much money they bring in? And you know how much money they make on suckers like us that go and parlay all these big ass points props? And you
We're only
take them
suckers when we
away.
lose. We're
You
sharp when we
take them
win.
away because you're afraid we're going to start hitting. Oh my gosh. Like, oh, I just can't believe it. That's like really insane. I should really have a 30-point prop here for Jalen Brunson. But you
By
know
the way,
what?
that
It is what it is.
the same book, we're not going to discuss the name, ended up grading every first touchdown scorer yesterday as a loser, even though the player that scored the first touchdown was not listed as a bettable option. So
I wonder
there
if
you
they
go.
had the any other player. Did they have the any other player
No,
option?
they did not. They did
Oh
not.
yeah, fuck you.
I don't believe they did. So that was a bit of topic of
Sports gambling.
conversation.
Well, let me just go
You can
ahead
figure out
and
which book we're talking about, but the point is, there's some books that have
let me
shady
toss that
betting
at the bottom of the
practices.
screen
So
because
just keep that in
fuck all the
mind.
other
But
books. All
either
these
way,
books suck.
I didn't realize Brunson 25 plus was going to be plus 550 because I assumed in my head from my experience with the book, it was going to be like plus 170 for 20 plus, and it was exactly like plus 168. I thought that 25 to 1. I mean, so I thought that 25 points would be like 350 maybe as a ceiling.
Yeah,
550 for 25. I got to auto bet that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. No, there's no way that's on my card tonight. So hey, we'll see. Maybe somebody will at me later saying that we hit the bet. All right,
I'm going to
man.
bet that though. That I can promise you.
100%. Ah, I fucking hate. Oh my gosh, that just
I
pissed me
hate
off.
shady practices, though. You make so
Yes,
much
it's
money
so
as it is.
shady,
You
so
make
so
so much
shady.
money as it is. You don't have to scheme people out of it.
Yes, like look, give us this, give us this. All right,
Give the
next game.
people what they want.
Get next game on the slate. We have the Chicago Bulls at the Boston Celtics. -7 for the Celtics. 223.5 is the total. Going to an injury report here. I promise you I could give a shit less, but uh the Kobe White is doubtful for this game. Andre Drummond is out for this game.
I know where I'm going with this. When these props, when you just mentioned the injury report, we can't avoid it, right?
I mean, you can say it.
I'm Vucevic rebounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
can't
mean,
avoid it. I
like
mean,
it's the centers against the Celtics, but
you
like,
backed the birthday boy first meeting. He had 23 rebounds. Now
yeah,
Drummond's out.
yeah.
I'm not saying Drummond's a great player, but he's a good rebounder, and he would take minutes away from Vucevic. I don't even know who their backup center is right now, with Drummond being out of the lineup because he was brought in solely to be the backup center.
No, they don't
So
have one. They don't
that's
have
my
one.
point. You might see an uptick in minutes for Vucevic, and he should play a lot anyway because he dominated the first game against Boston. His rebounding number, I mentioned I like the over against the Nets. I know he went over. I believe he had 15 rebounds. But I'm looking at the rebounds for Vucevic. Maybe alternative. I think he could go for 15 plus here. But the Bulls won the first meeting, so I know that they can actually match up decently against the Celtics. I do think you're looking at a spot where Vucevic could have another big game on the glass. Give me the rebounds for him. I'm leaning Boston. I'm leaning Chicago. Chicago
Yep.
beat them head to head. Levine and DeRozan should be playing. I think the scoring depth is good enough to match up with Boston's. And I think that Chicago should have a massive advantage on the glass. So give me Chicago plus the 7.
I'm not taking the Celtics, so just give me Chicago +7. I'm not taking the Celtics, even though I do think this is a good spot for them. I'm not taking the Celtics. Chicago +7. I'm more on the props for the. Well, let's talk about total real quick. 223.5. How are these two teams against spread? I mean, not against spread, but on the number of the total this year, Boston is 4-3, and Chicago is 4-5. So, all right.
But by the way, this is going to annoy you even more. So Vucevic's rebounds at 11.5. The over's minus 130. Sure. I'm not going to say no to that. He had 23 in the
Okay.
first meeting.
Okay.
Do you want to guess what Vucevic's price is for 14 plus rebounds?
No. What?
It's not there. It was a
What?
trick question. It's not
Oh,
there.
fuck them.
It's
Like,
not
that's
there.
fucking lame. Like, that is so lame. He
It's
just
not
had
there.
20. Like, why do you not have a 14 plus prop for him? That is fucking. And his number set at 11.
It's set at 11.5. You don't even have 14 available.
Either
Like,
way, the
I
total.
think this is really absurd, but I like the over on his rebounds.
The total went over last time, and I mean it makes sense because in this part in the season, Boston can't guard a thing. I'm really trying to find a way not to bet the over, but
I
I
can't.
mean, I guess it's more of a popular play, and I understand. Maybe for this game, the Celtics kind of lock in at home defensively. They just played this team not too long ago. I do like fading, the under when they just played a team not too long ago. I'll go ahead and back an under, but Boston does not help me with the cause at all. And maybe I'll just take a Boston team total under because I think that the Bulls have been a pretty decent defensive team this year, and I'm getting that extra points of juice of them being a 7-point favorite. So a Boston team total under feels like a good play for me. And I'll take rebounds. Give me Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum to get some rebounds in this game, just because of the fact that we talked about Andre Drummond not being there, so the depth is not there, and they're basically going to play every minute tonight. Like almost every minute they're gonna play at least 40 minutes. I can almost guarantee you both are gonna play at least 40 minutes. So I like their opportunity to get a lot of rebounds, them playing as typical kind of a little bit in the backcourt. No, Jalen Brown's a shooting guard, but he kind of plays closer to the rim and grabs a lot of boards. So I'll play both of them to get rebounds. I think one or the other. It was Jason Tatum last game, so let's say it's Jalen Brown this game. Get a double.
Okay. I'm cool with that. Should be a pretty good plus price.
Yeah. All right. Next game on the slate, we have the Charlotte Hornets traveling to Memphis to play the Memphis Grizzlies. -11.5 for the Grizzlies. 227.5 is the total. Let's see here. Injury report. We have Terrell Rozier doubtful, Cody Martin doubtful, Gordon Hayward out. Shit. who is who are they trying out here? All right. I mean, at this point, we're not fading. If Memphis can get this done, it's just by how much are they
Yeah.
able to cover a double digit spread.
And they let Portland hang around there. I know that they were dominating. I believe they gave up a 19-2 run in the fourth quarter to
It's
make
because
the
they're
game
so bad
competitive.
defensively.
I know. The
Yeah,
Hornets, though, were so bad against Chicago on a back-to-back. They were so bad in that game.
yeah,
I think I have to lean Memphis. Dane played. He had like 29 points. What else is new? Morant's very good. Adams should have a field day in the paint just based on rebounding
yeah,
because you don't have to bench him because Mason Plumlee can't shoot either, and he plays a bunch of minutes. So I think Adams could have a great rebounding game here if you want to go for a sneaky prop. But I'm on Memphis to win this game comfortably. It's a big spread. I don't know if I can actually lay this many points with an awful defensive team. But if you're
mm,
asking for my prediction on the game, I think Memphis wins by 20.
yeah. Last two road games haven't been that well for the Charlotte Hornets. They've gotten blown out by 20 in both games.
Yeah. Bulls on a
Uh,
back-to-back in that game, too, and they still beat them by 20.
yeah, the Bull, yeah, on a back to back still got thrashed. So, um, yeah, I can't do it. Not against Memphis. I was looking for a spot to be able to take a big dog, but I just can't see myself doing it with this Hornets team. Not when they're like they just keep missing more and more and more. And at some point, I have to say that you just can't expect the bench unit to be able to play at the same level as these starters. I think that the Grizzlies, this feels like they're just now coming back home. I think they just finished up a road trip. So coming back home, got a three game homestand. I think this is a good first home game back, and just to go ahead and get a really good strong win. So yeah, give me the Memphis Grizzlies minus 11.5.
I'm not gonna bet the number, but I'm leaning Memphis as well.
I feel pretty decent betting the number actually.
I feel
Uh,
okay about it. I think I'd probably take an alternative of maybe taking a player performance double. Take
yeah,
like Morant 30 plus points and the Grizzlies to win. Maybe a Morant double if you want to get sneaky with it. Maybe gets his teammates involved. Take
yeah,
Bane 3-pointers, something. But I don't know if I want to lay 11.5 with a team this bad defensively. I do think Charlotte, though, is really bad.
yeah. All right. What was I about to say? Total set at 227. We have the Hornets who are 4-4 to the number on the total, and we have the Grizzlies who are 4-3-1. So about the same.
Do you want to back an over when a team's number one option is arguably Kelly Oubre?
It's PJ Washington, but
It's not great either. I'm just throwing it out there. Not many great options he got
yeah,
there, but
I
Memphis
think
can
it's gonna
score
be. I
130.
think now I do think that they have I'm gonna be on their props, Oubre and Washington. I'm gonna be on their props today because I do think that they score a bunch. I just think that Memphis cleans up this game. I think this is an offensive juggernaut showcase for Memphis, and
Yeah.
that's how they pull away. But I still think that this goes over.
I think Memphis has a shot of scoring 130, so I'm going to take the over as well. But once again, Charlotte has Oubre and PJ Washington as their main shot creators here. The Oubre props, I have to like the over because even if he misses 5 straight to start the game, he's going to keep shooting another 15 times.
Yep,
It's just about the volume. I have to like the
100%.
Oubre props.
And at one point, he's gonna start hitting about 70% of things. So
At some point, yeah.
yeah, so I'm on Oubre for sure. This actually could be the night he goes off. All right, next game on the slate, we have the the Los Angeles Clippers going to play the San Antonio Spurs. Minus 4.5 for the Clippers on the road. 225 is the total. Look at this, Scott. 51% of money of the bets is on the under, but 93% of the money is on the over. I'm I
I mean, Clippers team
I
total's been an absolute cash cow. By
That
the way,
wasn't a pause, people. That wasn't a pause.
yeah.
I literally could not get my words out. If you're watching youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast, I literally couldn't get the words out. I just can't. I don't know. I don't know. All right, injury report real quick. Romeo Langford, Zach Collins, and Isaiah Roby. I think I saw Zach Collins is out actually. Uh,
What
but I
else is
have
new?
them all here for questionable.
Yeah.
And then for the Clippers, they're clean. That doesn't sound right. I actually
Oh,
need to
without
look on
Kawhi,
another site.
but
Yeah,
yes.
but for the most part, for relatively speaking, for the Clippers, they have a clean injury report. I can't stop betting the under on this team.
I mean, you have to. I bet the team total under with the Clippers. I had the alternative. I had the 113.5 against Houston. They scored 109 despite having 34 points in the first quarter. It didn't matter. They end up with 109. And Houston's not a great defensive team by any means. I like Spurs money line in this game. I faded the I faded the Spurs last time out, and I said straight up Toronto's going to win this game by 20 or 30. I was wrong. They won by 40 because the Spurs had a full-on Wembanyama lineup,
I appreciate you
and
for admitting when you were wrong.
I was. I looked at that Spurs starting five with no Keldon Johnson and with
Mm-hmm.
no Vessel, and said straight up, this is the worst starting lineup of any team this season, and they're going to get killed.
Yep,
And
very.
Toronto came out and beat them by 40 and scored 140 plus points. Now the Spurs get everyone back. So it was a temporary tank job for one game. It was a spot tank job, which I capitalized on. But Keldon Johnson being back, Vessel being back, I still like Pirtle at center. This team, when healthy, was pretty good. And they started the year, what, 5-2?
Yep.
I'm completely tossing last game in the garbage. It was a game
Yep.
where they said, we have some somewhat injured players. We're going to punt this game. We'll be back against the Clippers and we'll figure it out. I like San Antonio here. I think people are going to overreact to that 40-point blowout loss without any context whatsoever. And you
Yep.
need context with the injury report. The
Mm-hmm.
Clippers I watched against the Rockets because I had the team total under. It was a nice sweat. I closed out a parlay on it. It was nice. But I don't like the Clippers at all. This team offensively is a train wreck. They play too slow. And I think that at the end of the day, the Spurs at home, good shot to win this game. Give me San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, I'm locking up San Antonio. I'm locking up San Antonio plus 4.5. There's no way that I'm laying this number against a team that's full strength on the road
And
against the
obviously,
Clippers.
Clippers team total under. They're 0-8 to the over. They're 8-0 to the under on the team total. And their team totals have constantly been around 115.5, 114.5. I don't give a damn. They haven't gotten to like 112 this season yet. So I'm going to keep taking the under.
Yeah, I just it's bad. And the Spurs, you said it. The Spurs have looked pretty decent. I'm not going to copy your handicap. I'm on the exact same reason. I'm locking it up. Spurs plus 4.5. LA Clippers team total under. I'm seeing that number sitting here currently at for the away team minus 115.5. I just don't know how we keep getting back to this 115 number. I have no idea how
That's
we
my
keep getting
point.
back
It
there.
keeps ending up at 115. I don't think they've gotten past 112 yet. You
No,
got to show me
so
something.
yeah, we're just gonna keep taking it. You're undefeated. You're undefeated if you've been betting this thus far. Like, just keep taking it until it kills you. Like, let's do the blackjack theory. Sean said when I go on a blackjack heater, yes, Sean is my blackjack mentor. I call him Mr. Miyagi. So when I go on my blackjack heater, Sean always tells me when you miss 3 in a row, it's time to get up from the table and just walk away. We're on a blackjack heater with this prop. Let's just keep going until it burns us. And then
Yeah,
we'll
you're
say,
talking about
okay,
blackjack. I feel like craps is a better example. When you're on the heater, you're on the heater. You're
yeah,
going to let it ride.
no,
Like, that's the
yeah,
same
no. And
case
it's
with this.
same thing was in blackjack too. I'm telling you what Mr. Miyagi told me. Let's just ride this until it absolutely burns us because they can't get close to the number. They're not even getting close.
Just saying, you have one guy at the table in craps. He's got the hot hand. He hasn't rolled an actual 7 in about an hour and a half. At some point, you got to just keep riding it.
Yep,
The
100%.
Clippers team total under is going to be that massive moneymaker for me so far because I've been all over it and it's been very kind to me. To
All right.
us, I'm sure.
Let's go next game on the slate. We have the Golden State Warriors finishing up their road trip. I'm pretty sure they're finishing up this road trip because it's been a really long road trip. Yes, they are finishing up their road trips with the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans are laying 4.5. 223.5 is the total for this game. Injury wise, I have Herb Jones, who is probable, and Brandon Ingram, who is probable. So it looks like we're having a full assortment of staff here. 4.5 for the Pelicans. Can you please find me some way for how I can sensibly back the Warriors in this spot?
You're kind of just hoping that Curry goes nuclear if he even plays. There's really nothing to like about Golden State right now besides overs. I mean, that's really the main way to go.
Yeah.
You're at the point where the Warriors have won several championships. Of course, they won last year. And Steve Kerr's messing with the rotations. These are the defending champions, and they're messing with rotations. Like, they got serious problems.
Yeah.
And all the chemistry they had last year has gone out the window because they can't stop anybody. I'm still salty that New Orleans lost to the Lakers last time out. Really salty about it. Because when you got a coach of the year future, you can't afford to give away free wins. But New Orleans should dominate in the paint. Golden State's a bottom 10 rebounding team in the league. You have Valanciunas, you have Zion, Ingram's back. I gotta like New Orleans here. That's also assuming Golden State's at full strength, which I don't think they're going to be because it was a competitive game. It was a game where a lot of the starters had to play a bunch of minutes. If you hear a last-second scratch of Curry, maybe Jordan Poole, maybe Andrew Wiggins, nobody would be surprised
At all. And Kerr
at all.
does stuff like that. I'm surprised Kerr hasn't even told us beforehand already that he's not playing somebody.
I'm expecting Clay not to play, for example. I don't think Clay's going to play tonight. Pure guess on my part.
Yeah, if you like Pelicans, you got to bet this number right here. You have to bet this number right here if you like Pelicans. If you're on Warriors, you just wait. Just wait because it's not going to drop. The line's not going to drop.
No chance.
So if everybody plays, it's going to stay here at this 4.5 because this 4.5 is if everybody's playing. But
I'm on the over, but I do think team total over might be the way to go. I do think at the end of the day, New Orleans might win in blowout fashion. If you want to talk about a good get-right spot or just a good spot to take some anger out, you have a full roster after Ingram missed about a week with a concussion. You just handed over a free game in overtime to the Lakers the game prior. Now you're returning home. New Orleans at the it's the Smoothie King Arena, right?
Yep, Smoothie King.
So far, the home crowd.
I'm about to go. Hey, it's Smoothie King Friday. I'm about to go get some.
I would not gonna lie. I could kind of use a smoothie or a Slurpee right now.
Yeah, hey, no, Smoothie King Friday is $5, like a large smoothie, $5. Yeah.
So you're telling me the crowd's going to be into it and they have discounted smoothies? Yeah, I'm going with the Pelicans. They're going to be ready to roll. Come on.
All right, so
get the energy shot on there with the smoothie. Yeah, they're ready.
yeah. All right, so man, I'm really trying to force myself on Golden State because it's just so much to like.
It's the ultimate contrarian spot.
Yeah, and it's so much not to like about the Pelicans in that last game. Like that, like I know we sit here, we talking about how super pissed we are. Like I'm really pissed they gave that game away. There's no reason. One, they shouldn't even been back in a reason to be back in the game because they were so bad to start the game, and then they found a way.
You just needed Daniels to make a free throw. Daniels makes a free throw, you win. So
yeah, and so I'm still have this stat about road back-to-backs, road teams on back-to-backs early in the season, and they're like some 50-60% covering on the road because everybody assumes that they're on a back-to-back, they're going to be tired, they're not going to on the road, home team's going to be very locked in, all that. It's a very, very good trend that's been going on for years in the NBA. So because we've agreed on everything on the slate thus far, I will pivot and I'll go Golden State just because everybody's betting New Orleans. And I honestly, truly, in my experience, every time I've been on the side of New Orleans, when everybody's on New Orleans, it just doesn't go my way. It didn't go my way last time with the Lakers. I just don't like betting New Orleans when they're a public team. When they're a public team, I do not like betting New Orleans. So, yeah, I'll go Golden State here, plus 4.5.
I'm just trying to think of how Golden State's going to stop anybody in the paint in this game.
Oh, absolutely not.
I have no idea.
They're going to have to be unconscious. This is going to have to be unconscious scoring by both teams, which is why we're on the over.
And once again, if you want my hot take, I think Klay Thompson's not going to play.
Yeah. All right. Next game on the slate, we have Toronto Raptors going to play the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks are minus 3.5 at home, 216.5 on the total. Going over to an injury report, we have Fred VanVleet, who is questionable for this game. 75% of the bets, 78% of money on Toronto. Completely understand after they completely destroyed the Spurs last game.
They won the last 2 games by 30 plus because they killed Trae Young in Atlanta by
Oh,
30 the
sure
game
did.
prior.
Probably a little bit of overreaction there. Probably a slight tad bit overreaction. What have these two teams done against each other recently?
Dallas has actually done very well in the head-to-head
I
against
feel like it.
Toronto.
Yeah, I feel Dallas has won the last three. Uh,
They might have
one
won
la-
5 of 6 or like 5 of
It's
7, but I
nah, it
know
was
they've
three or
done well.
five. Yeah, they won
Okay.
the last three. Then Toronto won the two before that. They've won 114, 110 in Dallas in the 2021 season. Last season, they swept the two games 103-95 in Toronto and 102-98 in Dallas. And I mean, it makes sense because Dallas can be a really good defensive team. And last year, Jason Kidd had them locked in on defense. They were a really, really good defensive team. I haven't seen that from them this year. It just kind of feels like that they're letting, you know, open shooters make open shots. And
Well, that's why Jason Kidd got fired from Milwaukee. He gave up too many corner threes.
yeah, and so I do think that this is a bad spot for Toronto. I think this is a bad spot.
Define bad spot. Why don't you like the spot for Toronto?
I just think that coming off of those two blowout wins, Dallas looks like they're to be leaning a little bit, and this is the last game of a road trip.
Okay.
And so now they're about to go back home and they're about to get Chicago back home for a mini series where they play at home and then they go and play on the road in Chicago the next day. And that's literally, Sunday. So that's like it's a little bit of a look ahead. And last game, you're ready to get home on a road trip. I don't know. I just think that I kind of like Dallas in this spot. I feel like there's good reason for everybody to be on Toronto. I understand it. But this line opened up at 4.5. Now I get it under 2 possessions. I kind of like that for Dallas. Give me the Dallas Mavericks minus 3.5. Luka's been doing something crazy this year. And I think that this is a spot where Christian Wood can get right coming and playing against that second unit of the Raptors, or really the first unit, because we know that Nick Nurse plays the starters the entire game. But Christian Wood, I really think Christian Wood can dial in and be really, really strong on the boards and inside the paint in this game and really give it to Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, and some of those other guys on the inside. And I think that player right there is going to be the missing, well, not the missing link, but that extra push that Dallas needs in this game. So, yeah, give me the Mavericks minus 3.5.
So for me, this line has me confused because after the 2 great performances against, well, let's be honest, 2 teams that we're not that high on. Atlanta might be very good. We'll find out. But as of right now, I think they're hit or miss, and the Spurs were tanking. That's why I took Toronto. So I understand that you can argue the level of competition wasn't great in those games. They still won by 30 plus, and
Yep.
Toronto has won 4 or 5. They've been really good lately. Dallas did beat Utah. Very nice come from behind win there. Beat Orlando. They lost to Oklahoma City by 6 at home the game prior. Beat Brooklyn on the road in overtime the game before that. So going into this game, I was going to take Toronto because I thought that after the defensive job they did on Trae Young, I thought they'd be able to hound Luka and force him to make a bunch of mistakes. Then I saw Luka's stats against Toronto in like the last 3 or 4 games, and he just walks into a triple double like every time they play.
Really?
And that kind of scared me off. His numbers are really, really good. I think the last time he played against Toronto, he had like 42, 11, and 10.
Wasn't
It
it? Wasn't that
was something
the?
disgusting.
Was that the game where
But
he and Pascal Siakam both had a triple? Is that game where
it
both
might
he
have
and
been.
Pascal
But
Siakam had a triple double?
just to go through some of the stat lines for Luka, the shooting percentage could be better at times, but his volume, of course, is large. The last time he played against Toronto, he had 41, 14, and 7. Time before that, he had 27, 9, and 12. Time before that, he had 20, 10, and 11. So Toronto can't really guard the guy, I'll be honest with you. But I like this Toronto team. And I'll say it again. I think they're better when Van Vliet's not on the court. I've said
Yeah.
it before. I'm going to say it again. I don't think Van Vliet's going to play tonight. Give me Toronto. I like the plus money with a team that has a much better overall just roster, in my opinion, and much better depth than the opposition. I know it's on the road. I know Dallas is a good home court, but I'm going to take Toronto here because I just really like what I've seen. I think offensively and defensively, they are playing like a complete unit, and Dallas still relies so heavily on Luka isolation ball that if he has even a slightly off game, they might be screwed.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that Luka's averaging over 36 points per game, and he can't shoot the three for crap. He's shooting 23.7% from three.
Mm-hmm.
23.7% from three, and he's averaging over 36 points per game,
It's
which is
insane.
crazy to me. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Toronto. I'm hoping they have a decent game plan prepared.
All right. Total set at 216 and a half.
I'm on the under.
Really?
Yeah. Toronto offensively has been really good the last couple games, but I do think based on pace alone, Dallas is going to want to play in the half court because that's how they operate with Luka. And Toronto's really not afraid to play in the half court either. We've seen them go up tempo against the likes of Philly and Atlanta. The Spurs didn't have anybody's. They were just playing a scrimmage basically and just had a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
wide open dunks. But Dallas is a good defensive team. It's mostly the pace for me. I think Dallas is going to do whatever it can to play in the half court because that's what they want to do. Give me an under. I think you'll see a very competitive, lower scoring game in this one. I'm on the under, which might sound surprising, but I like the under in this spot.
No, I'm with you. All right. Yeah, you swayed me. I was faking this Mavs team, but no, you swayed me. I like the under. And it's been some reverse line movement. 84% of bet, 72% of money on the over. It's come down 2 points. All right. Next game on the slate, we have the Portland Trailblazers going to play the Phoenix Suns. Minus 10 and a half, minus 11 looks like now is the line. 219 and a half is the total. We have Anthony Simons, who is questionable for this game. Trendon Watford, who's been out. And then DeAndre Ayton and Torrey Craig are both probable. Cameron
Well,
Payne
yeah.
is questionable. And
Simons is the
Ish
huge one.
Wainwright is out.
I was going to say Simons is really the only one that matters because we know that Ayton is not going to play. Phoenix has been good without him in years past. We're
No,
not
Ayton's playing.
surprised that.
Ayton's playing.
Oh, he is back.
Yeah, so Ayton and Craig are probable. You have Cameron
Okay.
Payne, who is questionable, and you have Ish Wainwright, who is out.
I was under the impression that Ayton was going to miss like a week or so. So that's
No, no,
why I
no. They
wasn't
say he's
expecting him to be
probable
back.
for this
But
game.
okay, either way, point is that Phoenix is good with or without him. Simons is huge because without Lillard, he's really their only hope of scoring in this
Yep.
game besides Jeremy Grant. But
And that's
I don't
probably why
really
this
like.
line's jumped up
Yeah,
because there's a good possibility that he doesn't play.
I'm on Phoenix. I feel like if Simons plays, I don't exactly trust them anyway because Phoenix is just such an absolute unit, especially at
So
home.
Phoenix is
They're so good at home. They're
so
so good
they've
at home this
gotten
year.
the past couple of games they've gotten a large line, and this game has probably been like close. And then that fourth quarter, they just somehow find a way to cover it.
Oh, they bring the starters back in. And it's an immediate like 10
Yeah,
nothing
it's
run in
immediate
3 minutes.
change and they
It's
cover.
just
That's what happened literally that's what happened in the Minnesota game
yeah.
where Minnesota went on a run when the starters sat down, and then as soon as the starters came back, Phoenix won and covered easily. So
It's also a revenge game because they lost in Portland in overtime because Ayton missed those free throws at the end of overtime where Lillard might have said something to him to get under his skin, but it
uh,
worked out. But
I feel very chalky today.
I feel that way too, but 10.5 is a line where a lot of people probably won't want to lay it. I like the revenge spot. I like the fact that Lillard and Simons might be out. If both of them are out, it's a repeat of the second half of last year for Portland, and that's not where you want to be. I'll take Phoenix at home. This team at home is insane. They're 5-0. They've been crushing teams. I think if Simons is out, Suns win this game by 20. I think they crush this team.
Man. Portland, number one team in the league ATS this season, 6-1. Phoenix, not far behind them, 5-2. Yeah. Man, this is a big number. I can't. I'm not officially getting down on this until I know if Simons plays. If Simons plays, I'll just go ahead, close my eyes, and take the 11. But if Simons is out, then there's not a number you can have in front of me that's probably too big for this Suns team, especially when they get in the fourth quarter. The starters come back in and they just blow the lead open. So, yeah, that's basic. I hate to give a handicap like that, but if Simons plays, I'm on Portland. If he doesn't play, I'm on Phoenix.
For the
Pretty
record,
simple.
I'm assuming Simons is not going to play because according to his injury, he has left foot inflammation. That's
Yeah.
not the injury you want to play on, especially in the early portion of a season, because if it's inflamed, then if you play on it, you might make it even worse and re-aggravate it. So it seems like based on the injury, especially to the foot, that he won't play if I had to speculate, because that is the type of injury that you'd rather put some ice on it, give him a couple days off, and make sure it doesn't cause him to struggle for the next couple weeks.
Yeah. All
It's that
right.
type of injury. So
219 is total. It's come down. Money is coming in on the over and it keeps dropping. Probably because of
they really think
Lillard,
Simons is not going to play.
Lillard, Simons, yeah, all of that. I feel like Portland's really good to the over.
I want to say they are, but I know Simons is one of the worst defensive
I
players in the
lied.
league.
I lied bad. I lied very,
Okay.
very bad. They're
Okay.
actually one of the worst teams. They're 2-4-1. And Phoenix is 3-3-1. And that
I
does
think
make sense because I bet the over the other day and it didn't cash. And I was like, wait, Memphis and Portland playing, it didn't go over. And it didn't. And it's just because Portland's been, we talked about it earlier, Portland's been sneaky good defensively,
mhm.
like very sneaky good defensively to start this season. And I mean, I like the narrative of when the starters are out and the backups are in. The backups have a little bit more intensity to them defensive on the defensive side of basketball. That's why I think that Charlotte has been better defensively because these are the guys that are trying to make sure they stay on the team when the starters come back. And how do you do that? You play both sides of the court. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll back it. Give me an under 219.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to end up going with the under. I don't feel great about it because Phoenix could score 120 here, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to go with the under. I just think pace is going to be low. Simon's once again a great over player because he's a great shooter and he can't guard anyone. So you can argue that the defense might be better without him, and the offense
Yep.
will obviously be worse. I'm going to lean to the under. I think Phoenix get out to an early lead, maybe coast a little bit in the second half, but give me the under.
All right, next game on the slate, we have the Milwaukee Bucks going on the road to play the Minnesota Timberwolves, minus 3.5 for the Milwaukee Bucks. 227 is the total for the game. We also have injuries. Let's see. Rudy Gobert is questionable. Anthony Edwards questionable. Giannis is probable. And that is about it. Is this the spot where Milwaukee takes their first loss?
No, I don't think it's the first spot they're going to take a loss. I mean, I think this team is. They were my pick to win the East and be the 1 seed. They've looked like it so far. You said Gobert's going to be out potentially.
Yeah, he's questionable. He's questionable. I think it's a more of a just a have to have him on an injury report questionable, but
So I'm confused how Milwaukee's only minus 3.5 if Gobert might not play and Edwards might not play. I don't understand this line at all. Does this line make any sense to you?
it probably should be more.
I don't get it. But I'm gonna lean to Milwaukee. If Gobert's not playing, I'll take the over in points and rebounds or whatever for Towns. Because I'm sure he'd love to put up a nice stat line with Gobert not hogging the middle every time. But I like Milwaukee too much. I just think this is a very good team because Giannis is incredible. We mentioned on Minnesota would struggle this season with chemistry, and the offensive rating's been a disaster as a
Mhm.
result. But with Gobert out of the lineup, maybe you can argue that it gets back on track. But Edwards is still a very good player as well. Based on this current injury report and assuming where the line movement might come in on, if either Gobert or Edwards miss, this line's probably going closer to, I'd say, 5 or 6, maybe more. I'm on Milwaukee. They're going to be missing Connaughton. They're missing Middleton, obviously. They're missing Ingles. I don't really care, to be honest. It's the same lineup they've had already that they're 7-0 with. Give me Milwaukee. Minnesota's a team that I thought would be mediocre. They are, and missing players isn't going to help. So I'm going to go with Milwaukee.
Uh man. So Milwaukee had their number last year. Won both meetings last year, 113, 108 in Milwaukee. Not Milwaukee, Minnesota had their number. Minnesota won both meetings, 113, 108 in Milwaukee, and one in Minnesota, 138, 119. I feel like Giannis still cooks Rudy Gobert. I'm
We
just trying to
talk,
remember this.
yeah.
I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head, and I feel like Giannis still cooks Rudy Gobert.
I just know
Like
we talk all the time about Minnesota's bench being a train wreck, and now they might be missing Gobert and Edwards. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to like about this team right now.
I'm assuming both of them play. I think both of them play. So I'm in my handicap. I'm assuming both of them play.
I agree with LG though, because LG mentioned in the comment, "Is it a trap?" It feels that way. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest, it
and
really does. But
normally if it's a trap, I just kind of accept the fact that I'm dead. But I think I'm leaning the side of the trap in this one, just because these have been pretty close to meetings. Minnesota this year is an under team. They've been able to hold teams, to pretty decent production. And if you're telling me it's just the size and the massiveness of the bodies, like the massive size of the bodies that they have to throw at Milwaukee, to throw at Brook Lopez, to throw at Giannis, to throw at Bobby Portis, like it just
if
feels.
Gobert plays,
Yeah, if Gobert plays for sure. This all goes out the window if Gobert and Edwards doesn't play. But I also think that they have I also think they have the players offensively to be able to keep this. I don't know. I'm a I think this is a game they get up for. This is a game they feel like they can win, or 4-4. I'll back Minnesota here plus 3.5. And I reserve the right to change my mind if Anthony Edwards or Rudy Gobert is out.
so I'm gonna lean Milwaukee because if either of them are out, you're gonna see a massive line movement in favor of Milwaukee. I'm
Right.
not going to bet this actually. I think this is definitely trappy. I don't understand this line at all. But if you want to talk about where line or where money might come in, I will assume one of these two will be out. Gobert had zero. Gobert had one field goal attempt against a backup center
Yeah.
in the Phoenix matchup. That's embarrassing. Like I think he has to be injured to some degree. So I'm gonna go with Milwaukee, but once again, it does seem very trappy, and I don't feel great about it.
All right. Last game on the slate. Let's go ahead and finish out, get the people out of here. We have the Utah Jazz going to play the LA Lakers. -3 for the Lakers. 228 is the total. And injury report wise, here we have uh Bolmaro, who is out. Fontecchio, I don't know how to pronounce that. Questionable for Utah. LeBron probable. Anthony Davis questionable. If it goes anywhere of the course, Anthony Davis is going to play. -3 for the Lakers after they just came and won 2 straight against this Utah team. 53% of the bets on the Lakers, 97% of the money on Utah. And yet the line moved from 2.5 to 3. I don't know what to make of that.
I
I
really
want to I
like
want to
you.
sit here and
Yeah,
say Utah so bad.
I really like Utah as a team. I think they're fun. I think they're gonna get mauled by AD and LeBron on the glass and on the interior. I don't know how they're supposed to stop either of them.
I think this line is too short, man. I like Utah when we get like points, like when there's value
Yeah,
on Utah money line, when
5 or 6
we're getting
or more.
points.
We talked
Yeah,
about them
I
against
don't
Dallas. I
like
like them
getting
like 6.
Utah.
Like
I
yeah,
don't like getting Utah as a favorite or laying a small number. I really don't like that. But I hate taking this Lakers team as well, which is also equally as frustrating. I'm going with the Lakers -3. And it's because of what you said that I think that Anthony Davis and LeBron are going to dominate them on the glass. It's going to
they
be
have to, right? I mean, they're against who? Olynyk and Vanderbilt to get into foul trouble every
marketing,
game.
like, yeah,
Mark, yeah,
marketing, like it. And marketing size alone, I don't think strength wise he can compare to either one or the
no.
other. But yeah, no, I think Jordan Clarkson is going to have a pretty good game here. And, just how maybe Pat Bev kind of pivots over to Clarkson at one point, trying to slow him down. But I think Jordan Clarkson can have a pretty decent game. Just looking at that Lakers rotation, seeing him pick his spots, probably get the matchup that he wants to get, and just being able to cook. But the Lakers have looked a lot better with Russ coming off the bench. Like they have. They have looked a lot better, and Russ has looked good coming off the bench, being able to play how he wants to play basketball. And my friend texted me the other day. He was like, "Hey, Russ looks like magic coming off the bench." And I'm not gonna lie, there were some moments where I was like, "Yeah, okay, that was pretty magic. Like that was pretty magic. Like he is definitely taking the role of the point guard and just going, getting his spot, getting to the rim, and also getting the people around him the shots they need. They're playing so much better when he's locked in on the bench right now. So Yeah, I'm going Lakers -3.
I'm going to take the Lakers too. At the end of the day, we know Utah likes to chuck away a bunch of threes. The Lakers are actually good at 3-point defense. They're allowing 33.3% for opponents on 3-point shots, and that's tied for sixth best in the league. So if they can match up well against the 3-point line, and they're going to dominate the glass and on the interior, assuming AD and LeBron play, I think it's a very good matchup for the Lakers. So even though I don't like the Lakers at all, even though I like this Utah team, I like the matchup itself. I'll take the Lakers.
All right. That is total 228.
I'm leaning under.
You say you lean under?
I
Let me
am.
see.
I'm going to lean under.
What are these teams doing? LA 3-4 to the over, and we have
Utah should be pretty
Utah.
good to the over, but
Where? Wait, am I tripping? No, 3-6. So 3-6, 3-4. Yeah,
okay.
I mean the trend thus far in the season is that your under has claimed right here.
I'm only under conceptually because I just said I'm picking the Lakers. They can actually guard the 3-point line. So I think defensively they're actually going to be decent in this game.
Yeah, they've been decent defensively. Yeah,
and offensively, yes, I think LeBron and AD are going to cook. There's 3-point shooting is still awful. No offense to Matt Ryan. I know he had the big shot in the corner there. But I do think you're looking at the Lakers playing slow because you have LeBron and AD takes 9 years to go up and down the court. So I just see pace being a bit of an issue for the over in this one. I'm going to go with the under.
Yeah, Lakers covering 4 of the last 5 versus the Jazz. I'm with you. Yep. All right, let's do it. Under there. Like I said, prop wise, I'm on Clarkson today. I just think that this is Clarkson back in LA. I kind of like that narrative right there. I'll go with Jordan Clarkson.
I have no AD props, but I think he goes absolutely nuts in this game. Utah is going to get mauled by AD in this matchup. Or they better. Like, this is a game where AD has to take over because this is the matchup you dream of. You got Kelly Olynyk on you. What more do you want?
Yeah. All right. Let's go. And that was the last game of the slate. So before we get into our lock and dog, I got to talk to you about us, Sports Gambling Podcast, because you have a chance where you can win a Lawrence Taylor or a Brian Dawkins jersey. All you have to do is subscribe to youtube.com/sports gambling podcast. Make sure you comment on a video. Each new video you comment on, that is another chance for you to enter the contest and win a jersey. Of course, you're going to win the Lawrence Taylor jersey, because why would you pick Brian Dawkins over Lawrence Taylor? Come on, unless you're from Philly, then I understand. All right. Lock and dog time. For my lock, I feel like it's a lot that I actually like on the slate. Let's go with yeah, let's just take the points with the Spurs. Give me the Spurs +4.5. That's a lock. Even if they lose this game, they lose it close. This isn't anything that the Clippers run away with. Give me the Spurs +4.5. They're full strength. I think that last game was an anomaly because they were missing 3 of their best players in the game. So, yep, I'll do that. Spurs +4. That's my lock. For my dog, I don't have enough confidence in Golden State.
I was going to say, unless you wanted to pivot and take the Spurs money line as the dog, or you could double down.
Who do I like better to get a win?
You mentioned Minnesota potentially, but you weren't even sure about
that. Yeah, I was looking at that and just saying,
you going to live a little and take Chicago?
I could. I'm not going to do it in an immediate rematch. I don't want to jinx. I don't want to jinx Chicago, because as soon as I take Chicago as the dog, and then it means that the Celtics are going to win and cover. So I don't want to jinx Chicago.
Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana is a good one. Indiana. Nobody's betting. Yeah, give me that. Let's just do that.
It's a villain move.
Yeah, and nobody's talking about that game. Give me Indiana. I see them what, +130,
give or take.
That feels short. Yeah, all right. I'll do Indiana. Give me Indiana +130. I think this is a bad spot, and I like fading the Heat as favorites on the road. Or should I flip that? I should flip that. Yeah. Who has the bigger money line? Spurs had a big money line. Okay. All right. So flip it. I lied. Erase everything I just said. Give me Indiana +4. Indiana +4. That's my lock. And then for my dog, give me the Spurs money line at plus 160. There we
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
That's better.
So for me, I give it on YouTube. I'm going to give it out again here. I'm going with the Wizards -3 as my lock. I gave it out at 2 on YouTube, but I still like it. There's nothing to like about this Nets team. And even though you want to make a case for the team potentially, having a good game without its second best player, maybe the role players, have a great game here. What role players? What do they have? This team's really bad. Also, historically, when traveling to DC to take on the Wizards, Nets are 5-16-1 ATS in the last 22 meetings in DC.
Are you serious?
They
Oh
are
shit.
awful
Oh
traveling to
shit.
DC. And as a Nets fan, I could selectively recall them being terrible traveling here, but I looked it up last night. They are atrocious traveling to DC. But the Wizards are a good rebounding team, mediocre defensive team. They have a lot of scoring depth. The Nets have none of those things with Kyrie being out, and they have an
Yeah.
interim coach. I think it's a really bad spot for the Nets. I'll fade them for the foreseeable future, and I'll go with the Wizards there -3 as my lock. For my dog, I really, really wanted to take a player prop, but they wouldn't give me the 14 damn plus rebounds, and I'm pissed. So I got to figure out what the hell I want to do because I clearly wanted Vucevic to have a very good rebounding game, and
Yeah,
now
you
I'm just
did.
salty. So I got to find something else. San Antonio, I'm tempted by.
It better be up there later. That's all I got to say.
I am so annoyed that it's not there. Can I get double? Is that plus money? Maybe I doubt. I doubt it would be plus money, but I'm
That
kind of
is
scrambling
unfair.
here.
Let me help you look. I'll do that
It's a
much.
bunch of garbage. No, it's not even here for double. All right,
All
fade.
right, hold on. Let me go to
I can say the name because we're roasting them. I mean, it's not free promotion. We're just roasting the book for being bad. Right? Isn't that like a rule? You can say the name if you're just
I
going to
don't
roast the
know.
book.
I'm not getting cussed out by the bosses.
Okay, all right, my bad. I might have accidentally said it there, so apologies. But I think you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Whatever. I'm passionate about
All
my
right,
bets, man. I'm
let's
passionate.
oh man. Let me see if we can find
You know what? I'm just
nah,
going to
I
make
don't
it
see it.
easier.
Yeah, I don't
Screw it.
see
I'm going
it.
to make it easy. Just screw it. Give me the Spurs. Give me the Spurs as my dog. I thought about the Raptors, but I'll go with San Antonio. I faded the Clippers this season. It's worked out well every time. It's a real overreaction to what happened in the last game, and San Antonio just benched all their best players. I think it's a very nice spot where the public's going to back the Clippers. They'll assume after beating the Rockets by like 8 or 9, they're ready to go. I watched the game. They sucked. They really were not good
They
for the
don't look
majority of
good
that
at
game. They were
all.
really,
They
really
don't look
bad.
good at
They were
all.
really
Like they
bad.
look so bad.
San Antonio plays with heart. I like it. And I do think that since they can rebound well with Pirtle, they have a lot of good guards that are kind of underrated. Give me San Antonio on the money line. I think they got a good shot to win the game at home.
I'd be so pissed if San Antonio gets buried by this Clippers team. Like you don't know how mad I'd be.
I
All
think
right.
either the Spurs or the Raptors win. That's I don't call it a hot take, but I think at least one of those dogs are going to win. I'm going to
Okay.
go with San Antonio.
All right. Double dog for San Antonio. For us, you have Wizards -3. I have the Pacers +4. Anything else for people before we get up out of here, Scott?
No, not really. Definitely fun going through the card. I know it's been a couple long episodes, but we have a lot of games,
We're
and you
getting
got
our reps. We're getting our reps, and
we're
we're
thorough.
gonna
Damn
trim it
it!
down. Yeah,
You
we're gonna
joined the
trim it
show
down.
because you want the in-depth breakdown, where we're not going to just tell you to take the favorites every time. So we got to dive in. But so far, NBA's been good. It was a bit of a cold start for me on the locks. We've kind of heated up a bit lately, which is nice.
I
And
still
hopefully we
haven't hit.
keep it rolling.
Well, no, I've hit a lock, but I'm not hitting many of them. Take my dogs. My dogs are doing way
Well, you'd
better.
rather hit the dogs than the locks because that
Yeah,
leads you to
you're
plus
right.
money.
You're right.
So there you go.
All right, everyone. Make sure you subscribe to the NBA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you leave a review. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast. I really don't have anything else to say. I mean, we talked about make sure you get on Jalen Brunson today, guys. We're on Jalen Brunson today. So yeah, we're doing that. Let's ride. Anything
That would have
else?
been a hell of a dog to give out if I gave out 25 plus points at plus
At plus
550.
540. No, but
Oh,
no, it's all right. It doesn't
okay.
matter. We already picked. We can't go back. But
Okay.
I am saying that Bet Jalen Brunson 25 plus at plus 550. Like, we're telling you to do that. We are actually telling you to do
It's
that.
one of the
Bet
only
Jalen Brunson.
lines this book has. I got to take it, don't I?
Yeah. All right. Stupid. All right. We're getting up out of here. I have nothing else to say. I have no idea how I'm ending the podcast. Let's just end it like this. We are out.